Shalom Aleichem, sweetest friends. This year should be a special schus for Moshe Yehuda ben Peshadinu, Yaakov ben Dina Chasha. Baruch v'atzlacha v'chol ma'aseh yedeihem. And also for Rav Pinchas Elimelech ben Bela Fradel. Baruch v'atzlacha v'chol ma'aseh yadav. We're going to be learning about the inyan of chuppah b'siyata d'shmaya. Tosis at the beginning of Maseches Ksubis writes, Hadalo katani nosim es habesula. Why does it say besula nises and not nosim es habesula? Just like it says ha'ish mekadesh, or just like it says ha'ish mekadesh, let it say nosim es habesula. Answers Tosis because the Mishnah wants to be mekatzer. The Mishnah wants to speak in the shortest, most terse, concise, possible way. So it says besula nis instead of nosim es habesula. Would have said nosim is habesula, you would have said even bal karcha, even willy-nilly against her will, you're allowed to marry a woman. So therefore it says besula nises, she is married, showing that she has bechira, not you can take her against her will. Chachmat Shlomo explains that if it says nosim, we can't say nosim besula as habesula, then how can it say ish mekadesh? Nosim Besul is Mashma Bal Karcha, so is Ish Mekadesh. So how does it say Ish Mekadesh? So he answers that it says in the Reisha that a woman is only nicknamed Midaita. Aisha nicknamed Shol Shrachim, it's Midaita, like the Gemara in Kedushin says. So there, you're not going to make a mistake. But here, where she was already Miskadeshes, Miritzona, you would think she could be married Baal Karcha against her will, Kamash Malan. So explain the Maram Shif. But we have to understand that L'chora, Eirusin and Nisuin are two separate chaloisim, two separate chaluyot, two separate halachic changes. So, in her status. So who cares that she was already Miskadeshes? The chalos Nisuim is a separate chalos. And for a chalos nisum, you need her das. So what's the havamina b'chlal that you can do it against her will because you already did the kedushin with her agreement? Seder gedei there, that's kedushin, but nisum is a different chalos. You should need her das. So what's the havamina? You don't need her das for the nisu. And the shita mekubetzes on Tosfos explains the havamina that she could be married even bal karcha differently. That the havamina is that the ratzon that she had b'shas kedushin will be effective also l'inyan nisuin. The havamina de miskacha b'ritzona, the tinase bal karcha came in the kvaran miskacha b'ritzona. Once she already had will the first time, so this ratzon works for the second time. According to the Chacham Shlomo Pshat is that she was already miskadeshes meritzona, so now you would think she could be miskadeshes bal karcha. Shita Mekubetzes says, and then we asked on the Chacham Shlomo, they're two separate chaliyos, so what does one have to do with the other? Just because she had a ratzon for kedushin, what does it do for nisuin? Shita Mekubetzes says that a ratzon for kedushin is effective also for ratzon for nisuin. That also has to be understood. What does one have to do with the other? The different chalos. We see in the Gemara in Kedushin and Avham at Aleph that L'kuli Alma Eirusin is an inyan of Kinyan, and Nisuin Ayidei Chuppah is an inyan shel Gemar. Like when it says Chuppah Kone Mikal B'Chomer Ma Ketzav Sheino Gomer Kone Chuppah Shegomeres Eino Din Shetikne. So you see that there's an inyan here of Kesef being not the Gemar, being a Kinyan, and Chuppah is the Gemar. Eirusin is the Kinyan, and Nisuin Ayidei Chuppah is the Gemar. Ubipshuto, Nisuin is the Gemar and the Kinyan of the Eirusin. But if that's true, that Nisuin is the Gemar Kinyan of the Eirusin, it emerges then that Eirusin isn't a Kinyan Gamor. And if Eirusin is not a Kinyan Gamor, how does one get killed? Capital punishment. For having beer with her, when she's not an Eishis Gemura. And also, Mechitesi, that Kedusha is not a Kinyan Gamor. It all says in the first parak of Kedushin, Dalet Amud Aleph, that Eirusin is an inyan of a Yitzia, just not a Yitzia Gemura from her father, because she hasn't yet gone to the chuppah. But Hacha, regarding Kedushin, Akati Michsira Mesira L'chuppah. In other words, a Yitzia from her father, but it's lacking Mesira L'chuppah. This also has to be understood, that in the Havamina, that they haven't yet been Mitaretz. Like Abayah Forest in the Dharm, she goes out of her father's Rishus, already by Eirusin. Because in Nara Murasa, her father and her husband are made for Nedareah. But now where we're holding, Eirusin, there's no Yitzia at all. So how can the Gemara say in the Havamina that there's a Yitzia? Just it's lacking Mesira L'chuppah. It's mashman in the Havamina that there's no Yitzia at all. What's the Yitzia for? So Agon HaGadol, Rabbi Abba Berman, they used to call him Einstein. Because Einstein was, I don't want to say almost as smart as him, but let's just say, when Einstein was in the secular world, Rabbi Abba Berman was in our world. Even though I think Rabbi Abba Berman was a lot smarter, Reishis Chachma, Yiras Hashem. So he says that in the first Shir on Maseches Ksubis, in the Shir Yurin Talmud, as follows: that the Rambam writes at the beginning of Hilchos Ishus, Parak Aleph, Halacha Aleph, that before Matan Torah, a man would meet a woman on the street. He's walking the Shuk, he's walking Machane Yehuda, he's walking down Fifth Avenue in Central Park West, and he sees a beautiful woman, Sanua. She's standing under a tree, she's davening mincha. He waits for her to finish. And if she wants and he wants, he says, would you like to come home? And she says, sure. And he brings her home, and they're married. That's it. They do what they do, the Rambam says, and they're married. So that's the way marriage was in the old days. You meet her, you like her, she likes you, bring her home, you're married. No shatchanim, no resumes, no shatchanas geld, no engagement parties, no vorts, no $125,000 weddings with $15,000 worth of flowers, no 19-piece bands, none of that. You like her, you ask her if she's willing to come home, live with you, be your wife. She agrees. You don't need Eidim, you don't have Sirah, you don't need an hour and a half chuppah with everybody marching down the aisle, the bubbies, the zaydas, the uncles, the aunts, the bridesmaids, the groomsmaids. No. He meets her in the shuk, they're both wanted, go home, she's his wife. Once the Torah was given, Zog the Rambam came in the Torah. Now the Jews were commanded that if a man wants to take a woman, marry her, he has to be kind to her first in front of Eidim, and then she's his wife. So everybody asks in this Rambam, everybody in their Aunt Bertha asks in this Rambam, why are you telling us what was before Matan Torah? That's only Nogeda B'nai Noach and Ati Yisrael. You want to talk about B'nai Noach? U'visreden B'nai Noach reid. So, put it in Hilchos Malachim. What's it doing here in Hilchos Ishus? So you see from here, l'chora, that the Rambam is telling us that the same Ishus that we had before Matan Torah, we also have after Matan Torah. He's telling us a din for us. Because before Matan Torah, there was Ishus by bringing her home and then being bowler. After Matan Torah, Nisuin has the same inyan of Ishus. But you have to first do a kinyan Eirusin. That's the Rambam writes. Shemir tzaish lisa isha. He wants to marry her. First make a kinyan. In other words, Nisuin, stage 2, has the same inyan of Ishus of the Fnei Matan Torah. But first he has to be koner kinyan Eirusin. And therefore the Rambam writes this in Hilchos Ishus to tell us the same gather that they had back then, they also have now. So kinyan Eirusin is a kinyan in Ishus, and Nisuin is the chalos Ishus atzma. So according to this, we can understand the Gemara in Kedushin that Eirusin is considered a Yitzia. Since it's a Kedushin, a kinyan like Abba Ishus, Kedushin and Eirusin the same thing. The Mela, the kinyan has to make immediately the chalos Ishus. Why isn't it chal immediately? Because we're lacking the matziv. Today they call it Yesha matziv. So here the matziv is a matziv of Nisuin. We're lacking the matziv of Nisuin, so it's not zelo gamul. But it's still a kinyan. And when he makes the Nisuin, it's going to be Ishus Lagamre, but still by the Kinyan, there's already Yitzia Mirshus Aviyah. Just lacking Michsura Masira L'chuppah, like the Gemara says. We also understand the Gemara in Kedusha now that Eirusin is a Kinyan, assumes the Gemar. Because it assumes the Gemar in the Ishus. Because the Ishus that was included in the Eirusin is completed. So the final Kinyan is Taka Eirusin. So the whole Kinyan's a done deal by Eirusin. The only thing is that there's no complete Ishus until the Nisuin. And that's why we understand if somebody has beer with her after Eirusin Chas Shalom, Chman al-Islam, Chai Misa, because she's an Eishis Gemura, because she's already Niknes. And now we can also understand the Havamin of the Marshal, Maram Shif. The Havamin was that the Nisuin would be effective in Baal Karcha, since she was already Mekudeshes. Since Aydei Kiddushin, he has a Kinyan Legabe Ishus Shel Nisuin. So she's Knuya Lo Legabe Zeh Gufa to do Nisuin. And make the and complete the Ishus. So since he's Bailim on the Nisuin, you only need his das and not her das. That's a Havamina. Because he was Koner or Kiddushin in order to do the Nisuin. So Memela, that's all you need. You don't need her das anymore. You just need her das for the original Kinyan. And this includes that Viter now he's going to be able to do Nisuin, whether she likes it or not, because she already agreed to the Kiddushin. And that encompasses what's going to happen later. How much? Well, no, you also need her das for Nisuin. We also understand the Svar of the Shita Mekubetzes, that the Ratzin of Kiddushin will help for Nisuin. Because what makes the Chalos Ishus B'Shas and Nisuin is the Kiddushin the Meikara. This is not the Kiddushin, there was Ratzin, so maybe this Ratzin is also Chal and Nisuin. So based on what we explained until now, we understand that Chup is the Gemar, in other words, the Gemar Ishus. When the Gemara talks about the Chup being the Gemar, it's the Gemar Ishus. We should add, without tzilegen of volt, as they say in Portuguese, that Chup is also a Gemar in the Kinyan. He says in Yavamas, Amar B'chama Bar Guria, Amar Rav, Yavamas 45b. Person buys an Eved from an Akum, and then he's Toivel, L'Shem, being a Ben Chayrin. He's called himself as Ben Chayrin. Why? Because Ovei Kochav Mizak the Gemara Gufa Lo Kani Lei. Ovei wasn't kind of the other Eved, this Eved. My Dekanale Udemakale, so whatever he owned, he's able to be making to the Jew. And since Kadam Tovel Hashem Ben Chorin, since he was called Tovel, in order to be a free man, Afke L'Shiabude was Mafkia. He broke the Shiabude is Shibud. That was before Tvila, Yisrael had a Kinyan, only L'maisa Yadav. And he didn't have a Kinyan Aguf. Before the Tvila, the Yisrael had a Kinyan for Maisi Yadayim, not a Kinyan Aguf. Why didn't he have a Kinyan Aguf? Because the Goy we brought it from didn't have a Kinyan Aguf. Tur Yeredeh Rei Samach Zayin. That idea Tefillah, the Yisrael is a Kinyan Aguf. When he's Tovel Hashem Abdus. So Frek the Emrei Moshe and Simon Chav Beis, those Ches V'Tes. Where do we find that Tefillah is a Kinyan? Tefillah is Gerus. So what's pshat that he's kind of Kinyan Aguf Idei Tefillah? But before the Tefillah, he only had a Kinyan L'maisa Yadav, but now he's a Kinyan Aguf with the Tefillah. He's told to be an Eved, not to be a Ben Chorin. What's the pshat? So there are two types of Kinyan. One's a Kinyan Stam, a general Kinyan, and then you don't need a Kinyan for every detail, because it's his Stam. Memeli has all the details. And there's also a Kinyan Prati, a Kinyan Mesuyim. The Prati Echad or the Kama Prati can go in Kinyan Deka leperis. And according to this, when a goy is kona a goy, the kinyan has a kinyan stam. He wasn't kona from Maisi Yada, which is the kinyan prati. Stam to be his evet. Not that an akum only has Maisi Yada, but not kinyan aguf, is Gezeres HaKosuf. Mehem tiknu, we dash in Yavamas, v'loim konim zemizeh. So a goy can't be kona another goy, a kinyan aguf. But when he's kona kinyan stam, not a kinyan from Maisi Yadayim. He's kona a kinyan stam, and therefore with that kinyan stam, he gets Maisi Yadayim, because we have Gezeres HaKosuf that stops him from being kona kinyan aguf. However, when he sells him to the Yisrael, what he bought, he's selling. Kinyan stam. And since the Yisrael shaykh that he should have a kinyan aguf, mitzad parsha evet kinaini, so mitzad kinyan stam, he should have a kinyan aguf now. Because the kinyan stam is munach, licked in them that he's kon everything. Just if he hasn't yet been toivel, there's an ikuv of the kinyan aguf mitzad chisar and tvila. He's not shaykh to have a kinyan aguf shall have it kinaini without tvila's gerus. But since he's toivel, you remove the ikuv, the impediment, and then the din is restored. And mitzad a kinyan stam, he has a kinyan aguf. That reactivates the original kinyan aguf that the Yisrael had when he was kohen in the first place. So according to this, we have two inyanim. Number one is the etzem hakinyan. Number two is the toitzos that he has of the kinyan. The gabe etzem hakinyan, Yisrael and a goy are equal. They both have a kinyan stam. But the gabe toitzos hakinyan, it's mischalek. By an akum, the toitzos of the kinyan aguf don't apply. Migzeres hakasuv loim konim zemizeh. So he's konim stam, but there's an impediment of the outcome of the toitzah of the kinyan aguf, because Gzeres HaKosov is that they're Elohim konim zemizeh. Uli Yisrael she'enu guf. A Jew doesn't have this ikuv of ein konim zemizeh. He also has the totzas of kinyan aguf. So when he's konim, he's also konim kinyan aguf. We just have this impediment of tvila, and then it's chal. But originally when he's konim kinyan aguf with the totzas. He just waits around for the tvila. So according to this, we can say, and therefore, when the guy is tovel in the meantime, before he's tovel l'shem geras, he's tovel for l'shem cheres. So now he's gone. The kinyan aguf is never chal. So based on this, we can say that al in Nisuin, there's a gemar in the kinyan Eirusin. In other words, in the totzos of the kinyan before Nisuin, there's a kinyan, the kinyan ishus. That he's marrying her, that he can do ishus. But after Nisuin, even though the etzem kinyan is the same kinyan he had before, but now he has the totzos, he has ishus mamish. Not just a kinyan le'inyan ishus, that he can take this a step further, but this is the ishus, this is the totzah. Now the ishus is chal. And that's pshat in the Gemara, Kedushin Yeramid Beis. Hacha shir b'kinyana, before a chuppah is a shir in the kinyan. Dakati michsur ha-mesir l'chuppah, zok Rashi. Then yidosh tamela, there's no mesir l'chuppah with regard to Yerusha and Tumah. In other words, that is, if she hasn't yet gone into the chuppah, yeshir b'kinyan. There's a lacking in the kinyan. That's why it says shir b'kinyana. The chaser adayna totzot shel hakinyan. The ishus mamish is chaser. He's not chal until the Nisuin. So the gemar in this kinyan ishus happens when there's Nisuin. Because this is the totzah of the kinyan, the ishus mamish. And it's mavur lahedya like this in the Taisus read. Ksubis ala giling av memchesam and aleph lo b'shus av u'la'olam b'shus av ad shtichnos l'chuppah perish l'shem Nisuin. V'mi bas Yisrael mor ratzel l'koyin and l'chelos b'tshuma the kinyan kaspo gamor being on. She's in the rishus of father until she goes in the chuppah. That was L'Shem Nisuin. And if she's a Basram Russell Coin, she doesn't need Truma, because you need a complete Kinyan Katzbo. So you need Chuppah. So we see by Nisuin, she becomes Kinyan Katzbo Gamor. And that's Lahedja Kidvarenu. That Nisuin is the Gemar in the Kinyan Eirusin. That makes a Kinyan Katzbo Gamor. Noch ein Wort for dessert. The Rambam, B'chus Malachim Perek Ches Halacha Gimel writes, Ein Eish Sivas Torah Muteres El B'Shas HaShivya. She'am Ritza B'Shivya Bein Besula Bein Bula Bein Eish Ish. She'ein Ishus La'akum. That an Eish Sivas Torah is only Mutter B'Shas HaShivya. At the time of captivity. Because it says Ritza B'Shivya. Now, who is this? Who is this? Eisha Sifas Torah. She's both a Basula and a Ba'ula. Could be a Basula. She could be a Ba'ula. She could be an Eisha Ish. Why? Because Ein Ishus La'akum. Ein Ishus La'akum. It's very difficult to understand. Take an Eishes Ish for an Eishes Vas Torah. Akum Abal Eishes Chavero Akum Chayiv Misa. One guy takes his friend's wife and he sleeps with her. He's Chayiv Misa. V'dobak Misha v'lo Beishes Chavero. Like the Rambam writes later on in Malachim Perek Tes Elchos Malachim Perek Tes Halacha. So there is Ishus La'akum. So what's Pshat? You could say maybe he doesn't have Ishus like Yisrael, but the Rambam doesn't say. The Rambam says, ain't Ishus La'akum. And we also prove in the Rambam that a Jew has the same Ishus as an Akum, just we have to make a Kinyan first, and the guy doesn't. So what's Pshat? Akum does have Ishus Shel Yisrael. In a certain perspective, from a certain perspective. Based on what we said, the Rambam is very good. Because even though Yisrael and Akum have the same Ishus, but it's Mischalek. Legabe Yisrael, the Ishus is Mikoyach Kinyan Kedushin Kemedemei Kara, like we said. And since this Kinyan is a Chalois Ishtanus B'chefza, so she becomes an Isha by the Kinyan L'chefza Shel Eishes Ish. There's a shinui in the fact that she's Niknes originally. And now she becomes his complete wife. She becomes a chefza of an Eishes Ish. Hashem came ba'akum. That the Ishus that he has is just through the massive of Ishus. And Mela, she's not a chefza of Eishes Ish. All he has an inyan of Ishus in his wife. But that doesn't change who she is. That's shot in the Rambam. She'ein Ishus La'akum. She's not a chefza of Ishus. And therefore the parish of a rise of Eishes Ish doesn't apply. Because that's totally be'etzam ishi chefza shel Ishus. As far as the Isser, one is definitely not asleep with one's goyish friend's wife. Because there is Ishus between her and her husband. One's not allowed to break that up. But she doesn't change into a chefza of an Eishes Ish. Because there's no real Kinyan. Hashem came to Yisrael, where there's first the Kinyan. Eirusin, and then it's completed by the Kinyan Nisuin. She's changed to a chefza of Eishes Ish. And therefore the parish of Arayis of Eishes Ish applies. But not by an Akum. And therefore, Eishes Sifas Toar can be an Eishes Ish. No one can ask that if there's an inyan of Ishus between her and her husband, how does that permit her? So obviously the answer is, how is she permitted as an Eish Sifas Torah? Obviously the answer is, in order to be an Eish Sifas Torah, it's not enough to be just having Ishus with your husband. You have to be a Chefza of Eishes Ish. And that's what puts her in the parish of Arayis. and this woman is not a chepta v'neishes ish. So that's a very lamdish chiluk that would require more explanation and more understanding. But Baruch Hashem, we've gained a lot of explanations and a lot of understanding in this year. Siyata Dishmaya. We give ourselves a bracha that we should be zoche lilmod ulamed lishma v'lasos l'kam skol every sound to us to be ahava, amen v'amen. Shalom, shalom, sweetest and most beloved friend.